Have you ever felt like life was falling apart, with no hope of things getting better? Liam, a 17-year-old boy, sat on a park bench, feeling just like that. Liam sat slumped on the bench, staring at the ground. His hands were clenched, and his thoughts were as heavy as the dark clouds above him. He sighed deeply, whispering to himself, "Why is my life so messed up? Why does everything bad happen to me?" An old man, sitting a few feet away, noticed Liam's troubled expression. He had a kind face with a white beard and wore a simple brown coat. Leaning on his wooden cane, the man slowly approached and sat down beside Liam. "Young man," the old man said gently, his voice warm, "you look like you're carrying the weight of the world. What's troubling you?" At first, Liam didn't want to respond. What could an old man possibly say that would make things better? But something about the man's voice made him feel safe enough to speak. "My life's a mess," Liam began, his voice trembling. "My parents are splitting up, I failed my exams, and my best friend died in an accident. I don't know how to handle it all. It feels like everything is falling apart, and I don't see the point of trying anymore." The old man listened quietly, nodding as Liam spoke. When Liam finished, the man said, "I'm sorry you're going through so much. It's never easy when life feels this hard, but let me tell you something. I've been where you are, feeling hopeless and lost. Maybe my story will help you see things differently." Liam looked at the old man with mild curiosity. "Your story? What happened to you?" The old man smiled softly and said, "My name is Jacob, and when I was your age, I thought my life was over too. I lived in a small village with my family, and we worked on a farm. It wasn't much, but we were happy. I loved the land, and I dreamed of growing up to make our farm the best in the village. But life had other plans," Jacob continued, his expression growing serious. "One summer, a terrible storm hit our village. The wind tore through our fields, the rain flooded our land, and our crops were ruined. Everything my family had worked for was gone in a single night." Liam listened intently, imagining the destruction. "What did you do?" Jacob sighed. "At first I was devastated. I thought, why me? Why did this happen to my family? I felt angry, hopeless, and stuck. But life didn't stop even when I wanted it to. My family was struggling, and I had to figure out what to do next." He leaned forward, his voice steady. "One day a traveler came to our village. He was a wise old man, and when he saw how broken I was, he said something I'll never forget. Sometimes life takes something away to give you something better." At first I didn't believe him. I thought he didn't understand my pain, but his words stayed with me. Jacob paused for a moment, as if remembering the young man he had been. "The traveler told me about opportunities beyond my village. He said I could learn new skills, meet new people, and find a way to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy to leave everything I knew behind, but I decided to trust his advice." Jacob continued his story, his tone hopeful. "I left my village and traveled to a nearby town. There, I met a farmer who was willing to teach me new techniques, things I'd never learned before. He showed me how to grow crops more efficiently, how to care for the soil, and how to work smarter, not harder. It was hard work, but I felt like I was learning something valuable." Over time, Jacob gained the skills and confidence he needed. "With what I had learned, I started working on another farm. I used the new methods, and soon the crops began to thrive. Eventually, I saved enough money to buy my own piece of land. I built something even better than what I had lost." Liam's eyes widened. "So, losing everything wasn't the end for you?" Jacob smiled. "Not at all. It felt like the end at the time, but it was actually the beginning of something better. If the storm hadn't destroyed our farm, I would have stayed in the same place, doing the same things. I never would have discovered my potential or achieved what I did. That storm, as painful as it was, pushed me toward a new and better life." Liam thought about Jacob's words. The idea that even the worst moments could lead to something good was hard to believe, but Jacob's story made it seem possible. Jacob continued, "You see, Liam, life doesn't always make sense in the moment. Sometimes the hardest things we go through are the ones that shape us the most. They push us to grow, to change, and to find strength we didn't know we had. Liam nodded slowly. But how do you keep going when everything feels so hard? How do you trust that things will get better? Jacob leaned back and looked at the sky. You don't have to see the whole path right away. You just have to take one step at a time. Trust that the challenges you face are part of a bigger plan. And remember, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. That's when you learn the most about yourself. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the park. Liam felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from his shoulders. Jacob's story had given him a new perspective on his own struggles. Maybe, just maybe, the pain he was feeling wasn't the end of his story. Thank you, Jacob, Liam said sincerely. I think I understand now. I'll try to be patient and see where life takes me. Jacob smiled warmly. Good. Remember, don't judge life too quickly. Everything happens for a reason, even if you can't see it right away. As Liam walked away from the park, he felt a small spark of hope. His problems hadn't disappeared, but he now believed they might lead to something better. Jacob's words stayed with him, reminding him that life's challenges often hide unexpected blessings.